Hello, this is Latanya, right? I'm going to brand the name that Mr. Cortez Springer referred to me on Facebook as the Queen of Credit, right? The Queen of Credit. I was on one of his Facebook Live, and he referred to me. I logged on. He said, you know, the Queen of Credit is on. And so I purchased this book. I've been reading today, The Conspiracy of Credit, right? By Corey P. Smith. Corey P. Smith, you can Google him, find him on Amazon. You can also find a lot of his recordings on YouTube. He's a black African-American male author. And I'm just going to go over some things in this book because it really reveals a lot about the credit bureaus and how credit and the power of numbers, right? The power of numbers and credit and the power that having good credit has, right? So let's dive right into the book. If you're joining in on Periscope, because I'm live on 2 platforms, make sure you hit some hearts for me. If you're joining in on Facebook, make sure you take time to hit the like button, right? This is free information to improve your financial situation. And so show some participation love by commenting, taking time out to hit like and to hit share. So again, I'm speaking from the Conspiracy of Credit by Corey P. Smith. And let's go right into the book, right? It starts with the introduction. The introduction says, most people don't understand. Hello, Miss Scott. Hello, hello, hello. How are you on this beautiful Sunday afternoon? It's hot in Mississippi, but you know, we're going to make it in spite of. So the introduction goes into that most people don't understand the power of numbers. So I put this in my caption, the power of numbers. Numbers are used in the form of mathematics to predict things of the future, as well as to hide things from those who don't understand the laws of the universe. I'm trying to, I can't think of the name of the movie. If you all know it, put it in my comment section, because I took my basketball girls to go see it, and I just can't think of it. But the women, that was the great mathematician for NASA and the things that she did. So the power of numbers. I want to discuss the power of credit and cash flow and those numbers into your life, right? Now, I want you to consider this, and this is correct from the book. Steve Perry, he's the vice president of Visa. You know, the Visa card, right? VISA. Visa, you have MasterCard, you have Amex, American Express, so forth and so on. Steve Perry says this about cash. Hidden figures. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Miss Scott on Facebook. Hidden figures. The power of numbers. Numbers are used to predict the future. So if you are basing your credit and cash flow numbers, right, then what's your predicted future? If you look at how your cash is flowing, right, if you look at your FICO and your credit score, how would you predict your future, especially in reference to your financial future? Thank you so much, Ms. Scott. So Steve Perry, he's the vice president of Visa, and he has to say this about cash. He says, cash is expensive. It's an expensive cost on society and should be replaced with a cashless society. He goes on to say, why do you think supermarkets introduce cashback rewards, right? It's because they want cash out of the system so there is less to manage. Processing a transaction on a card is much cheaper than handling cash. So in order for anyone to understand the power of that statement, right, you really will have to understand what Visa means, V-I-S-A. And he has an image on the back of his book that I'm going to scan in. Thank you for the hearts on Periscope. But this is, you know, I'm not going to get in depth into that. But relating to a cashless society and your credit. Now, there is no better way to gain control over society than a population of information. I watch Nino Brown a lot. He's often live on Facebook, on the Facebook platform. And one thing Nino Brown made a statement saying the other day, thank you for the digital love, thank you for the heart, is that the difference between rich and poor is information, right? Now, if we want to go another step higher, we can say applied knowledge or applied information. So now, you can use this as a defense or an offense, right? Everyone knows I'm a coach. I go by the name Miss Coach Deloach. But I'm really going to brand that Queen of Latanya, the Queen of Credit, right? And so, one thing, if you're using a defense or an offense, you're either creating hope or you're creating fear for your financial future, right? So, we all know that hope is always better than the creation of fear. So when you begin your journey of improving your credit and improving your cash flow, and I will go into cash flow in a few minutes, then you begin your journey of creating hope, right? So this book goes into the discussion of the creation of credit. He talks about, thank you so much, how Equifax, Experian, TransUnion was created, how they began to sell information to insurance agencies as well as open up their own insurance company, and they sell the consumer's information to get approved for credit, right? He goes on to talk about the power of credit, and he says a lot of people are advocating that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and he said it's all just a game, right? And I love this terminology. Again, I'm a coach. He said it's all just a game. And many people, many consumers do not understand that what's going on with you, what's happening to you, and that the quality of your living depends entirely on your ability to play the credit and cash flow game, right? So we're talking about the power of credit. We're talking about predicting your future through your cash flow numbers, through your credit score, and that he's saying credit is much power. We don't understand that your credit score depends on things like where you live, right? How much of an insurance premium you pay, right? It doesn't matter even if you're a safe driver. If you have a low FICO score, you will pay a higher insurance premium for your vehicle that you operate than someone that has a high FICO score, right? And so he goes on to talk about the concept that a lot of consumers have, that we take pride in poverty. This is on page 25. A lot of consumers take pride in poverty. What does he mean by that? Well, people tell you things all the time. You know, if you're leaving a low-income neighborhood, never forget where you come from, right? Or that it's irresponsible to go into debt, right? But at the same time, it's a conspiracy because it takes credit to get credit. It takes you establishing credit and showing that you can be responsible. So it takes somewhat of you getting into debt, right, in order to be able to position yourself to get a higher debt, right? And let's not forget about the debt-free sermons that we learn at church, right? We hear about being debt-free and the scripture to owe no man nothing but to love, right? And so we have this bad image, especially the black and brown community, especially the African American community, that debt is a bad thing. And most people are sold on this cliche that there is no such thing as good debt versus bad debt, but that is not true. There is a good thing as good debt. Good debt is any type of investment that can make you more money by using other people's money. Bad debt is investing in things that depreciate in value or go lower in value, right? And so by charging consumers or things, despite a good driving record, right, you'll pay high premiums, right? And so there are 49 states, and this is coming directly from the book, that require every driver to have auto insurance, but you have no choice to get your credit checked. And this makes the credit bureaus more money, as well as it puts the dings in your credit score because now you have an inquiry. And I made a video a couple of days ago about inquiries or inquiries, pulls on your credit report, why those small things cause big problems in your credit report. Because if you have more than 5 to 6 inquiries or pulls on your credit report, within 6 months, you will not get approved for any new credit, as well as you will get denied to be a homeowner, to purchase a home, and you will get denied for business credit, right? So he talks about LexisNexis report, right? He talks about LexisNexis collect your personal information from childhood, and they sell it to make money off of it. That's why, thank you so much, Mr. Curry. That's why when I do credit repair, I freeze and opt out of people's LexisNexis report, as well as these other. See, people think TransUnion, Equifax, Experian is the only bureaus or the only companies that pull their credit report, and that is not true. You have small third-party reporting agencies like LexisNexis, like Credco, like ARS, like SageScreen that have credit reports on you. And these third-party reporting bureaus report to the big boys. The big boys pay them, but they have credit report on you as well. And so he talks about identity fraud. Now just think about it. I'm referring to collection now. If a debt collector, right, obtains your information from the original person or company or business that you receive services from, they get or obtain your information, purchase your information, have your medical information on file, have all of your personal records on file. Doesn't it sound like identity theft? We never think of it from that perspective. So what happens when you get behind your bills once, or you have a expensive medical emergency, and that one thing, would that make you become homeless, or in some situation even jobless? So then he goes on page 33, he talks about inquiries, right? He talks about inquiries pulled on your credit report, how that is just just profit. That's why today I was shopping, and the young lady asked me would I like a rewards card, right? And for my purchase to receive 10% off. And one of the first questions I asked her, will you pull my credit report? Will this require my social security number? She said no. You know, she got my name, she got my information, you know, she got my date of birth, but she did not have my social security number, and I was making sure of that. So these are questions that you must ask. So I'm going to flip the screen right now, and I'm talking about the power of numbers, the power of credit, but I'm also going to talk about the power of cash flow and exactly what cash flow is, right? Exactly what cash flow is. So we're looking at the power of numbers, right? The power of numbers. Now, what is cash flow, right? What are some things that's hurting your cash flow, that's hurting your paycheck, that you bring home? Well, the number one thing that takes a third of your paycheck is taxes. It's taxes. A third of your paycheck is taken by taxes. Now, how do I know that? Because if you are only an employee, right, and you're not an entrepreneur, then you are getting taxed at the highest percentage, which is 28 to 35% out of your paycheck, more than anyone that's an employee, that has an employee and an entrepreneur, or we call it home-based business, because now you have no leverage. You cannot have any additional deductions to claim when it's tax return season. You can't use your cell phone, for example, that I'm using to come before you with this live video screen. You can't use your internet as a tax write-off. You can't use a percentage of your home or your apartment that you're renting as a tax write-off or a tax deduction, because you are only operating as an employee, and taxes can be controlled. We call it tax-free wealth, or sometimes I refer to it as W-4 wealth. And if people would just add that entity into their wealth building cash flow portfolio of becoming a home-based business owner, I'm not talking about recruiting people, I'm not talking about selling products, I'm talking about strategies, right? Again, I'm a coach. I'm always referring to strategy. whether you want to say you're building your offense or your defense, right? But you need strategies to build your cash flow. Now, the second thing that's hurting your cash flow is bad debt, right? I talked about some people don't believe in that cliche that there's good debt versus bad debt, but there is bad debt. You are paying your money to the banks because they are charging you astronomical numbers and interest fees, right? And because of your bad credit and your late fees, it's causing you more money, right? When you're late on that bill, when you're late on that rent, when you're late on that cell phone bill, now you get hit with late fees and late payments. And so your bad credit and your lack of cash flow. Now, a lot of people think they have an income problem. And we can all afford to have a bigger income, but what people don't understand, you have a cash flow problem, right? You can't control, you don't know these strategies that will control where your cash is flowing, where it's going. Robert Kiyosaki calls it the cash flow quadrant, right? And so then you have inflation. Inflation averages about 3% raise every year. Where do you see inflation? You see it everywhere. Your gas prices, that's the number one place that inflation is known, right? And then it goes from gas to groceries. We look at the groceries, and our groceries are twice as price higher than what they used to be in the past, right? That box of Frosted Flakes is more than what it used to be in our past years, and we see inflation every day. And so if your paycheck is the same, right, or if the 3% taxes on inflation is higher, if you're not receiving a pay raise that is at least 3 times as much or 5 times as much at 15% a year, then you don't have a strategy or game plan to beat inflation. And then we have the one called big businesses, right? Big business. Now let me explain, if I can, from memory, what big businesses is. Well, big businesses is, for example, and let me flip my screen. Big businesses is, let's say in the month of January, right? You have New Year's. We are celebrating New Year's in the month of January. And then February, we turn around and then we have Love Day, right? Valentine's. There's pressure on everyone to go out and buy roses, chocolate candies, the stuffed teddy bears, right? And then we have March. Then we go into spring break, right? Spring break, and we've got to take a vacation because that's what 98 or 95% of the population is taking a vacation. And so we want to get those spring break travel deals, those cruises, and well, hey, let's do what 98% of society is doing, spending their money on for spring break. And then you have April, right, that comes along, and then from April, May, and June, we have Mother's Day and Father's Day, right? So you got to get mom and dad a Mother's Day card and some type of monetary gifts in some cases. And then in May, you have graduation, right? So we got to have these college graduates. We got to give them graduation gifts, give them cards, whether it's high school or college. People even give kindergarten people college. They go out and buy balloons for graduate from kindergarten now, right? And then July comes. It's Independence Day, right? We have to celebrate independence. We got to get that red, white, and blue. We got the barbecue and get the beer, and we're spending money now for July. Then August comes, which is the month we're in now. It's back to school. And okay, now we got to go back to school shopping, check these back to school sales. And now we have September coming, which is Labor Day. That's coming around, and we got to celebrate Labor Day. We bring out the barbecue and the beer again, the traveling. We're going to see our family, a 3-day weekend. Let's celebrate Labor Day. And then October is Halloween, right? Halloween's a big business, just as almost big as Christmas. And people have, they go out and they get these costumes. And it just keeps you in the cycle. November is Thanksgiving, right? And then we have to, family time. We got to get the turkey, the cranberry sauce, the rolls. We spent money in grocery stores for Thanksgiving. And then we go around with Christmas and January and New Year's. The conspiracy, right? If you're not educated, starts all over again. And so the power of numbers, the power of getting overall education. I tell people, if you want to know more, this is the theory of how credit works and the conspiracy of it and the history of it, dating back to how Equifax TransUnion was formed. But I need you to get the Credit Secrets book. There's more secrets that are unlocked in that book. And so visit these two websites. Make sure, again, you hit like and share on Facebook. MyCreditIsPower.com, and visit my personal website teaching more about taxes, inflation, bad debt, and how to improve and increase your cash flow. And that website is MyCashFlowIsPower.com. Now, I know Power is coming on tonight, and a lot of people will be watching Power, but you need to take some time to watch the power of building your credit and your cash flow, right? So I thank you all for joining in. Again, hit like and hit share for me. And I'm going to end this broadcast. And I hope you all have a great Sunday. If you need any assistance, right, with your credit or cash flow situation, just reach out to me. Send me a message on Facebook, because I'm passionate about helping people with their financial future, predicting their numbers, improving their FICO score, and improving your cash flow. We have people who are getting from as low as $100 to $600 a month pay raise from their job without getting a promotion, without working overtime, without getting a second job, just by making what we call W-4 wealth adjustment to their W-4, and now leveraging business write-offs, right, that they will not have as an employee, but you will have once you become an affiliate of this home-based business. And again, you learn more about that at mycashflowispower.com. Purchase the book to help with your credit. Once you purchase the book, reach out to me. And also, you need to know that coaching and consulting is also a business write-off, right? So once you pay me coaching or consulting services to fix your credit and even fix your cash flow, that's an additional business write-off for you. So this is a win-win situation. Happy Sunday again. And know not just the power that comes on stars, but know the power of building your credit and cash flow. Ms. Coach Deloach.